Here we will talk about ferromagnetism. These are the objectives of this lecture. First, I will describe the properties of ferromagnetic materials. Then I will explain the domain theory, spin exchange interaction, Wies molecular field, spontaneous magnetization, and the Curie temperature of ferromagnetic materials. Then I will derive equations for magnetization and the susceptibility of ferromagnetic materials under different conditions such as different temperatures. Ferromagnetic materials have magnetic moments even in zero applied magnetic field. Here you can see some examples for ferromagnetic elements. Iron has 4 unpaired electrons in 3D subshell. Only the unpaired electrons in a material contribute to the magnetic moment. Therefore, the magnetic moment of iron is 4 mu b. Similarly, the magnetic moment of cobalt is 3 mu b. Here mu b is the Bohr magnetron. The theoretical magnetic moment of nickel is 2 mu b. However, the experimental values are different from the theoretical values due to the overlapping of 3D subshells with 4s subshells. In this table, you can see theoretical magnetic moment and experimental magnetic moments of iron, cobalt, and nickel. Experimental magnetic moments are less than the theoretical magnetic moments. Below the ferromagnetic Curie temperature, ferromagnetic materials have a spontaneous magnetization. Above the Curie temperature, spontaneous magnetization vanishes and the material becomes paramagnetic due to the thermal agitation. There are two types of Curie temperatures. One is called the ferromagnetic Curie temperature. The other one is called the paramagnetic Curie temperature. In ferromagnetic materials, electron spins are arranged in a regular manner. Within one domain, all the magnetic moments are parallel to each other. In different domains, magnetic moments are in different directions. We have to take the vector addition of all the magnetic moments to find the total magnetic moment. Magnetization occurs due to the rotation of spin or the enlargement of domain parallel to the applied field. In the first picture, you can see a ferromagnetic materials without any applied magnetic field. The magnetic moments are in different directions, in different domains. The wall between two domains is called a domain wall. When we apply a magnetic field, the magnetic moments rotate into the direction of the applied field, or the size of the domain A becomes larger. So when the size of the domain A becomes larger, the domain wall starts to move. Domain A is parallel to the magnetic field. So in the second picture, you can see what happens to the sample after applying the magnetic field. Finally, all the magnetic moments are parallel to the magnetic field. The interaction between two spins Si and Sj is given by the equation capital E equals minus 2j Si dot Sj. Because there are so many spin pairs in a material, we have to add this equation for all the spin pairs. This interaction is a short range interaction. Here J depends on the type of the material, so J is different for different materials. When two spins are parallel, J is positive. When two spins are antiparallel, J is negative. Energy is minimum in an energetically favorable system. So J can be either positive or negative depending on the system as given here. Magnetic moments can create an internal magnetic field inside the magnetic material. That internal field is given by Be equals lambda m. Here lambda is called Wies constant, capital M is the magnetization, then the total field is equal to the applied field plus the magnetic field created by magnetic moments. Magnetization is given by equation number 1. Here simple G is the Landes G factor. Bjx is called the Brillouin function. Because there is no magnetization in paramagnetic materials, the parameter x is equal to G mu b J b over kt. In ferromagnetic materials, there is a magnetization, so we have to replace capital B from B plus lambda m. Then the parameter in a ferromagnetic material, x is equal to G mu b J times B plus lambda m over kt. For spontaneous magnetization, this parameter x is equal to G mu b J lambda m over kt. This is the difference between x parameters in ferromagnetic materials and paramagnetic materials. So finally we can get an equation for magnetization, that is equation number 2. Magnetization satisfy both equations number 1 and equation number 2. According to equation number 1, the graph between capital M and X is a curve. According to equation number 2, the graph between M and X is a straight line. The slope of this straight line depends on the temperature T. When the straight line intersects the curve, we can observe the spontaneous magnetization. When T is larger than Tc, the straight line does not intersect the curve, so there is no spontaneous magnetization above the Curie temperature. When T is less than Tc, the straight line intersects the curve, so we can observe the spontaneous magnetization for the temperatures below the Curie temperature. The ferromagnetic Curie temperature increases with lambda. Near the origin, x is very small, so we can prove equation number 3 for lambda. We will prove equation number 3 in the next slide. When x is very small, the Brillouin function is equal to J plus 1 times x over 3j. After using this bjx in equation number 1, we can prove this equation for the magnetization. Then we take the derivative of capital M with respect to x. Then we take the derivative of equation number 2 with respect to x. Then we substitute t equals theta f in that equation. Now we have two equations for dm over dx. So the right hand side of both equations must be the same. Then we can get an equation for lambda, but mu effective squared is equal to g squared mu b squared j times j plus 1. After using mu effective squared, we can write lambda in terms of mu effective. Now we are going to prove all the equations given in this slide. We have proven this equation for the magnetization in slide number 22. Also, the equation for simple x was given on slide number 18. After substituting simple x in the equation of magnetization, we can get the final equation given on this slide. After using this equation of mu effective squared, we can write the magnetization in terms of mu effective. This is the equation given on slide number 24. Then we can find the susceptibility. Chi is equal to m over h. After opening the bracket in the right hand side of the equation, we will have two terms in the right hand side of the equation. And after using chi equals mu naught m over b in the second term in the right hand side, we can get this equation for susceptibility. This is the equation given on slide number 24 for the susceptibility. Here C is a constant. Finally, we can prove this equation for the susceptibility. Chi equals C over T minus theta. Here C and theta are constants. Capital T is the absolute temperature. This is the third equation given on slide number 24. In this table, you can see the ferromagnetic Curie temperature, paramagnetic Curie temperature, and the Landé G factor. Here theta is the paramagnetic Curie temperature. At zero temperature, the Brillouin function is equal to 1. So the magnetization is equal to n g mu b j at zero temperature. Then we can find the ratio between the magnetization at temperature T and the zero temperature. That is equal to b gx, or the Brillouin function. We will prove equation number 6 in the next slides. According to equation number 5, the graph between magnetization and x is a curve. According to equation number 6, the graph between magnetization and x is a straight line. You can see this one on the left hand side graph. When the straight line intersects with the curve, we can observe the spontaneous magnetization. So here the slope of the straight line depends on the temperature. When the temperature is larger than theta f, the straight line does not intersect the curve, so there is no spontaneous magnetization. When the temperature is less than theta f, the straight line intersects the curve, so we can observe the spontaneous magnetization at the temperatures below the Curie temperature. Here the x-axis should be x, it is not a. So in the right hand side graph you can see the magnetization decreases with the temperature due to the thermal agitation. Now we are going to prove equation number 6. The magnetization is given in equation number 2, lambda is given in equation number 3. If we use lambda in the equation of magnetization, then we can prove this equation for magnetization. But mu effective squared is equal to g squared mu b squared j times j plus 1. If we put mu effective squared in the equation of magnetization, then we can get the final equation given on this slide. After cancelling some of the terms, we can get an equation for mt, but m naught is equal to ng mu b j. If you divide mt by m naught, then we can get equation number 6.